Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Let me just share our live stream quick with everyone in our lovely community. And yeah, let's get up the chat. It's well rehearsed at this point. Oh, should bring up Visual Studio as well while we're doing that. So just give me one moment. And yes, we need the other one as well. Not that one. Excuse me. Visual Studio. Let me bring up the chat momentarily. So we do need that. So, okay. Let's get the chat open. Just a little extra setup. See if we're live according to my other computer. And there we are. Cool. Alright, that's our first. Ha ha ha. Hello, Nilo. Mation. So anyway, hope you're having a great day. So I do want to talk briefly about something just before I actually get into development. I hope everyone's open for that. So I've been having this thought recently when it comes to development and what I should be doing and what I should be learning, which is the important thing, right? When it comes to game engine development, there's lots of parts. Yeah, Nilo. Okay, Nilo. There's lots of parts to. Thank you. There's lots of parts that you need for building a good game engine, right? And some of these things take longer to learn than others. For a game engine specifically that's 3D, for example, there's graphics theory. You need to know the theory behind how graphics techniques work before you can implement them in the shaders. So this is just like, I don't know, something similar to how do you do lighting, right? How does physically based rendering work, and what's that equation that we've been looking at? So what's, hang on, let me show you what I mean, because this is oh, I've already got to open Obsidian, I think. Yes, perfect. I've just literally got it here. So for example, this is graphics theory. Knowing what this does, right? Being able to understand how this actually works, breaking up the specular and diffuse, and being able to extract stuff out of the integrals so it's actually easier to calculate. All this stuff is necessary for doing something like physically based rendering, but this is all theory, right? There's no Vulkan, there's no shader code here. Hi Toby, how you doing, dude? And I've got to make a decision, right, where I have to, what do I do outside of stream, right? In stream, we're going to work on the game. That's pretty obvious. But outside of stream, what do I actually do, right? Because it's important that I learn this stuff so we can actually do it in stream. And I've decided to take an approach where instead of studying the stuff that we need directly, which in this case, for example, in this stream, I need to know more about the Jolt physics engine. I'm going to take a longer term approach to what I'm learning and concentrate on things that I'm lacking so I can actually improve the fastest. You know, it's easier to improve things that you're bad at, and you'll get more gain for your result. If I was really good at math, for example, you know, getting like extra good at differential equations, not that relevant at that point. You're kind of practicing stuff that's not necessary. So I'm really targeting stuff that I'm weak at, and I've decided to do this. So what ended up might happening in these streams is we might end up working on stuff that we might end up stopping the stream from last time and then working on the same thing immediately with no new developments in between, because I was spending so long on graphics theory, maths, threading, which is what I'm focusing on right now. I'm going to study threading because I want to write my own scheduler for threading, so I can thread this game engine myself without using a library. But that's going to require me to study a bit of operating system stuff and a little bit, and mostly C++ threading and how to write the scheduling algorithms that are correct and robust. So yeah, I just thought I would push that out there and just say that sometimes we might see less progress in the short term, but in the long term we're going to build faster, better stuff. We're gonna crush it, further down the line. So I hope everyone's okay with that and a bit patient with me, because there's a bit of a delay to learning something like threading. We're not immediately going to see the results on stream. We're going to see them a bit later. So yeah, I hope everyone's cool with that. That's what I thought was going to be the best, most beneficial overall thing that we're going to be doing, I think, long term, rather than just worrying about immediately what's in front of us. So yeah. Hi Toby. I don't know if I said hi, but hi again. I can always say it twice. So yeah, we're going to be working on player movement. So what are we going to be doing today? We are going to be doing where we left off. I'll just explain where we left off. We have player movement, kind of. We have a duck that moves by itself, and that's the player. If I try to go towards the player, it accelerates off to infinity. I don't know why it does that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be trying to figure out how to get that particular duck back and following where we need it to be. Eventually replacing that with a nice little spaceship. And then we'll have like something that can be maybe played. Yeah, so that is our tasks today. We're going to be trying to figure out that. So Nilo has said, what are the top 5 hardest things you've done in this particular game engine, or in general? So what are the hardest things you've done in this? So I assume you mean this game engine, right? Top 5. Synchronization, probably number 1. That took forever to learn because I did it completely differently. I've done it completely differently in this game engine versus the prior game engine. Can I think of 5 or 4 others? I guess getting this foundation layer working. That was one, but that's been around for a while now. So for those who don't know, I've written my own array class and stuff like that, right? So so having to have that work with your own allocators, which are very simple, admittedly, not very complicated, and generally, this is going to be a pain parsing GLTF files. I know this is going to be hard because animation, I haven't done a single thing with animation, and animation is tough to get right when you're pulling the data out of the GLTF files. So that will be something that's going to end up difficult. Right now, there hasn't been something that's like stand out to me as difficult. Everything's been kind of equally tough, so we'll go with that. Yeah, I appreciate that, saying you cool with that, by the way, Nilo. The reason I came so early is because I'm sick, so I could not go to school today. I hope you get better, dude. Well, at least you're off school, hey? Alright, let me take off my hoodie just briefly. I just realised I got it on again. That usually leads me to being overheated, and then if we do it now, I don't get interrupted by getting too hot, so that'd be nice. Right. Yes. Brazil and Germany. Very cool. Thank you for joining us, by the way. Right, okay, so let's dive into what we're doing and start getting our hands dirty. Okay, so where we left off, I might have to remind myself exactly what I was doing. So we had a singleton. We set up the singleton. So that means in the player. Oh, that was it. Yeah, we need to basically bring the player class. The player data within an entity. So the thing is with this, it's very separate right now. So I'm gonna kind of look at my main function. Main file, and kind of see what we're trying to do here. Okay, so what are we moving? That's the question. So we get the position, we update the physics, and we set linear velocity based on the desired change. Now, what I think might be happening is because we're accelerating, we're applying the velocity as if it should be position. If that makes sense. So, in maths, when you integrate velocity on velocity, you end up with acceleration. Sorry, when you... My bad. When you take velocity and multiply it by time, you get acceleration. Yeah, not quite right, but there we go. So I think because our character is accelerating off to infinity, where it's getting faster and faster. Yeah, we're adding, we're doing this quite a little bit off, where we're adding linear velocity like position, so it's integrating and turning into acceleration. I like jolt, but the cloths was something I couldn't really get done right, so I ended up... Oh, really? That's really cool. So you use your own OpenCL physics engine. Wow. Wow, hats off to you there, Toby. Holy moly. That's really impressive. Great work, man. Just wanted to ask, are you using an entity component system? Personally, no. The reason I'm not using an ECS is because the game's entities are going to be well defined, so I don't need to generalize out a system that can loop over components and map them onto entities in like homogeneous type style. I don't need that level of parallelization either, because I can. I'm going to thread this all up anyway. So we're going to have all the entities with the hard-coded stuff, and yeah, we're not going to. Unless I was to generalize this out, if I was to say this is going to be a Godot type engine, then I would use an ECS. But no, I'm not using an ECS right now. I'm using components, don't get me wrong, and I'm using entities, but I'm just not having the system part of the entity component system. Because I really like the way the encapsulation boundaries are not hierarchical, so there's no like inheritance, but like vertical for an ECS. So we're still taking that idea. But yes, so you'll see a lot of that today. Actually, we're going to be messing with our entities and looking at how, for example, we do have like generic entities that have indices that index into models, for example. So we're going to be doing that today. Actually, there is a bunch of that we're going to be doing. But the first thing we need to fix is the acceleration issue that we have with this player. So the first thing that I could do, I'm just not that good with Vulkan. Still something I am avoiding. Some kind of future. Yeah. Do you recommend? Do you have a recommendation of how to start with Vulkan? Yes, I do actually. Can I come back to you? I will say yes, and I will link you something. But I just want to try something before I give you the resource. But there is basically two resources I recommend, but I'll come back to them in a minute. So I'm going to say set position, right? Like, what does set position do if I treat position? Do we get velocity when we move, or do we get acceleration, or what? When's them happening? Do we get horrible jolty, horrible movements? So okay. So it's going to be hard to check. So ignore my light at the moment. It's way too bright. Set position. No, I think we do want velocity, but we just need to do it differently. So that was just an easy. Could we get linear velocity to be behave nicely? So yes, I will get you a link. There is a resource. This is my Discord server. I've pinned it up here, but I'll link it to you. No problem. So this is called How to Vulkan. It's like a very beginner-friendly resource that you can use. I will paste that in chat for you. Yeah, the duck did not move. This is a very, not entry level, but it's a very like good beginner resource. The next thing I would do is Vulkan Guide. Vulkan Guide. I'll just type this in because I don't actually have it linked. This is a more advanced tutorial. It'll teach you, it'll go into more in depth. It'll teach you how to do compute separately from graphics and stuff. But the How to Vulkan will be a quicker introduction with the same ideas for the most part. And I'll link that as well. Where's the live stream gone? There it is. So there you go. And yeah, give those a shot and see what you think. I know you're a bit more advanced as a programmer, considering you just written your own physics engine. So you can start straight with Vulkan Dev if you want, if you just want to jump more into the deep end. Both of those resources, though, either one are fantastic. So yeah, good luck with them, and you should be better. I don't need to say the simple things that I often say to people, like don't use LLMs to learn, for example, because you're already familiar with that kind of stuff. It just changes to spaces, right? I had tabs there. Oh, you're Tobe sick. I've seen you on Discord, right? Okay. So yeah. But anyway, that's for other people who as well. I do have those. Yeah, I don't often know if because obviously people have different usernames on Discord versus YouTube. Anyway, so right, let's figure this out. So let's just see if without moving the camera, when I set the linear velocity, is this velocity? Is it not? I think it is. As far as I can tell, this isn't accelerating. Assume I haven't pressed anything yet. The problem is I don't know why it's even moving to begin with. If the linear velocity, obviously, this is fine, but let me think. When I press W, how does this affect things moving? Right. Okay. So let's investigate. Okay. As far as I can tell, when you have this character, you have a... Turn this down a bit. It's a bit loud for me. We have a character is supported. Okay, so I believe this is because we need to deal with the ground differently. We don't have a grounded state, but this might be tripping up the physics to do something that we don't want to do, if that makes sense. So yeah, let's just try and figure this out. So this is supposed to be direction, and I don't know if that's oh, I've just figured out what I'm doing wrong. Okay, let me put a breakpoint here. And what do you love most about Visual Studio? Nothing really. It's I don't really love it or hate it. It's just because I've used it for so long, I'm pretty familiar with it, and I just know all the keyboard shortcuts. I'm not a really big fan of the MSVC compiler, to be honest. But for example, I know I like having to use the mouse to add breakpoints. It's generally quite a good debugger, to be honest. I don't think anyone could argue against that, really, even if people hate Microsoft. So we're going to be launching the Jolt physics engine just for now. And what I want to see is the direction vector itself, I think. So this isn't my engine, just so people don't go, wow, that was fast. You made all that? No. So what I'm interested in is to see when I do this. I just remembered seeing, not this, but further up. Nope. Further up again. Where was it? It was... There is some kind of vector that gets calculated, but it's only in... It's like a unit. It's like a normalized unit vector where the direction is literally just X, Y, and Z get pressed together, kind of thing. And I just had a thought that I thought I saw. So yeah, let's just figure this out, right? Okay, so this is here. Input controls is calculated. Where's that calculated? Okay, so we've got it in the search bar. We go update, maybe it's, do we see it anywhere? No, okay. What I'm looking for is like, how is this worked out? So this is what, this is interesting, right? So the actual direction vector that comes in is literally just X, Y, and Z based on key presses, which is interesting. The reason I say that's interesting is because how do you do this for a game that has no gravity, right? Up, down, left, and right, assume that there's gravity. Kind of tricky. Regardless, it looks like everything, if not 0, then we normalize, so, but that's basically always normalized. And, oh, okay, so then we do rotation. Fortunately, this isn't too hard to implement because I wrote function callbacks to my input, so I can put input logic basically anywhere in the game engine. I don't have to worry about putting it in the main loop. So that means the separation between this and... So we need the camera's forward vector. We set the Y to 0 for some reason. We normalize or... What? The x-axis, fine. I mean, we'll do all this and we'll just see how it works for us. And... Can you turn on C code into... Can you turn C code into a module of some kind and link in a... And kind of link in Python? Can you turn C code into a module of some kind? Yes, you can, yeah. I'm not sure about C itself. I know C++ supports modules, but MSVC's compiler isn't... As far as I remember, the reason that I haven't dealt with modules or anything is, one, I don't really care that much. Because I've basically learned C and C++ and stuck with that, so I'm not that issue. There's not too much of an issue for me. And yeah, okay, so we need to basically implement this. So we're going to implement this. And the second thing is, yeah, I know Python. I know other languages that do modules, kind of. I would say kind of because I'm a bit rusty. But apart from that, no, not really. So yeah, we're not going to have player position. That's not going to work. So we're going to get rid of this. We're going to go in here. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, you can do what you described. I'm not going to have this. I'm going to make a player movement. Yeah, but yeah, what I'm saying is MSVC might support modules better than it used to, but when C++ 20 came out, which is when it got supported, it just didn't do it at all, and other compilers did. And I'm working with MSVC, so Vec3. Yeah, and you're probably familiar with the fact that you can get C code in Python, but that's not what you ask. But yeah, you can definitely do. If you are struggling with support with MSVC's compiler, you can use Visual Studios and just change the compiler, but that requires a bit extra. That requires a bit of extra. A bit of extra setup. So anyway, oops. Because I think you can get GCC on Windows. I can't remember. If you can't get anything, I think MGW is GCC but Windows. Handle events. Oops. There we go. Right, so we're going to have a handle events function just to not have everything in the update function. So I can do this at a different time. Oops. There we go. Oh yeah, Linux definitely supports it. Yeah, GCC is actually one of the. You can do GCC or Clang, and you'll end up you'll have full support of it. One of the benefits of this engine being supported by Linux is the fact that I can. I'll paste this in here so I can actually do a copy and paste job here. Handle events. There we go. Spell events wrong. That's what happened. Is that I do actually get to pick up on these things where. Okay, and we're going to take our player movements. This. And we're not going to use those keys, those are terrible. We need to use our own system. Okay. Oh, it's args, you know, it needs to not be args, I guess. Let's go back. Does this work now? Yes, okay. Right, so we need to do the same deal. We need to include handle events. Whoa. Don't know why my spelling is so off today. Import. No, it's application actually. Application. Oh, where's import live? Yeah, it's application. Okay. Where are we? We're in physics. We should have application here. I don't know why it's not telling me where it is. And input. Yeah. Okay. So it is. Okay. It's just autocomplete not working. So input. I'm gonna have to go in here because I haven't done this in a minute. Is key released or down? I think it's down. You want to use for this particular case? Yep. You don't know what that is? Hang on. Let's see. Oh, input handler. These aren't static either, so we're going to have to use the input handler, I think. Which is fine. We just pass it in. As a const ref, I don't think it needs to be modified. Import handler. Unfortunately, that means we need to have this here. Input, I'll just say that. It's quite simple. I don't know C, so because of that, your code is kind of reminds me of Rust. Ah, I see. Okay, and they and they both look like spaghetti. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. This is C like C++, if that makes sense. It's not strictly C. There is C++ stuff I'm doing all the time, but like const expr, for example, is a C thing. Adding structs to classes like the adding functions that are tied to an object is C++. However, it is very. My code is close to C. That if I had to move to C strictly, I wouldn't actually be lost at all. It would be actually fine. So that's just something to be aware of when you look at my code. It's my goal anyway is for other people to be able to work on this project. It's and not be completely lost by what we're doing. Oops, gotta grab that. So there is tons of not tons but lots of C++ that we're doing. And okay. Nope. And cool. I only know Python, goddammit. And a bit of Rust. So it's open source. Yes, if you are interested in looking at my code, it's linked in the description. Everything's open source. The branch that we're working on right now, though, is called space. So sometimes master is a bit behind space, the space branch. So if you're looking for specifically what we're doing on stream, if it's not committed, it's in space. That's a funny sentence. So where's the key? How do I do the keys again? Keys, just need them. Keys. And we want key W for this, I guess. So that. Now, I say that my code is going to be simple, but there is one caveat to that. The fact that I haven't organized my code very well in main. There is still a load of stuff that needs to be moved from out of here. So be prepared for a big main function and a bunch of stuff still hanging around. But apart from that, it's the opposite of what I hate with C++ programmers. Well, not with them specifically, but the way they write code. Is the fact that sometimes they just like write code that's so complicated and so difficult. Oh, that's left. Hang on. That would be A. That should be D. That it's so difficult to understand, and it's not not fun to read at all. That you need like you need to buy a book on templates to understand what I've read, what I've done. I'm not a fan of that idea. So we've written that. Okay, so we'll have this in there as well. Player movement if it's not equal to 0. Because I've written code like that in the past where it's like really complicated and it just makes everything take longer to make. Whereas if you just write the code that you need directly, then interesting. You didn't. Okay, that's just the library. In my experience, I found that to be a lot more beneficial. So we need the camera forward vector. So I am just going to throw in. What is the camera's forward vector? Actually, I'm just going to kind of grab it myself. Oh, wait, no. No, this does need to be done at runtime. Okay. So const... I see, yes. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece in general, but a masterpiece to a beginner, I guess you could say that. To a beginner to C++. No, I have no idea if you're a beginner in general to programming. Nilo. Yeah, you could be one of these goated. I've been kids that end up learning C++ and like 14 years old or something. Okay, so camera forward vector. Yeah, so camera forward vector, I guess. I don't know. So I pray and hope that this is actually going to translate my position based on what we're looking at. So if I press W and we do a negative Z, or whatever it is, a positive Z, that this camera vector kind of knows what to do. Unfortunately, it's in this wrong format, because it will come in this format. No, actually, I'm going to do JDH vector. I've changed my mind. We need to keep the physics part of the code base in the physics part of the code base is like this as much as we can, so the maths in here doesn't get messed up at all. So this is just going to be the forward vector. In fact, we don't need this line at all, to be honest. I'm going to not set Y to 0 because I believe that's going to stop us from moving up. But I'm going to comment that out actually. So set Y. And just assume that that was what it's doing. So, actually, what are you complaining about? Oh, I did it as a const. All right, so we will assign it. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's not like this is going to cost a huge amount of performance. JDH JPH. I hate the way this is written. Also, when you stream, I only watch you when you stream, nothing else, just to see what you're brewing. Ah, yeah, it's fine. I'm only learning Python and Rust. I'm in the 8th grade. Yo, dude, that's really cool. I'm glad you're enjoying programming. I don't know what that means in Brazil, or how old that means, but I assume it means you're relatively young. You would probably call me an unk. Let's at least say that. So that's really cool. Yeah, honestly, I'm just grateful that anyone's watching at all. So, you know, the fact that you're watching and learning Rust and programming and stuff. 13. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, I'm glad that you're taking programming not seriously, but you know, you're enjoying I don't know if you would call it serious, like I need to be, I don't know how you would justify your own programming, but I'm glad you're, you know, getting into it young. It's a beneficial thing, and not using AI. That's what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so that does our movement. Oops. So we need to play a handle. And sorry, go back to main. So when we handle key presses, I honestly, I'm going to say that we don't handle user imports. I think it doesn't make any sense, to be honest, to handle user imports when the screen is minimized. Input handler. That goes in, and the camera's up vector. Actually, we're going to need make sure the camera's calculated its vector, actually, before we do anything. Camera internally has calculated its thing. Fantastic. So the up vector of the camera is just up. Oh no, forward vector, sorry, forward vector. Which one is that actually? So up, we have... Oh, I'm going to have to look. I've obviously called it something else, so bear with me. Also making a gaming dot. Yeah, I love that, dude. Yeah, it's actually inspiring to see that you're doing that, honestly. It's in the realm of everyone is just making everyone's saying the means justify the ends when it comes to making games and stuff. The fact that you're, you know, learning advanced well, considered advanced oh, this is the wrong way around. Oh, I'm gonna have to write another conversion function. The fact that you're doing that is like, it makes me want to try harder as well. So yeah, it's really sick. So this and vec3. Why is this? Not const. Why did I leave that? This needs to be const. I don't know why I didn't leave that as const. I was just wondering if I modified stuff outside of so just vec3. Let's call it vec. Why not? And this is quite straightforward. Whoa. Would be if I didn't mess it up. So vec. Y and Z. If you were making a game in Godot and if you had a bit more GD script knowledge, I would help you. Oh, I appreciate that, dude. I think you can tell I'm obsessed with coding. Fantastic. That's how you get good, though. People will, you know, I don't know what other people say in life about things, but, you know, if you want to be a really good programmer, you know, typically you do have to become obsessed with the process, which, you know, it seems like you're into that, which is fantastic. And you know, if you're like that, why not me? You know, that's what's inspiring for me, to be honest. It's like it makes me want to do the same thing, and also try really hard and enjoy the process and get obsessed with stuff. Put in the hours, etc. Right. Okay. So we have our conversion function, which is trivial to write. And we're going to throw this in here. Like this. That should be... I hope that's our forward vector, but we'll find out when everything doesn't work. Yo, yo, Detricodes. How you doing, dude? Good to see you again. Working on the same thing as last time. I hope that's chill by you. Yeah, it's good to see you, man. I hope you're having a great day. So we got our player movement... and our player movement, and our player movement, and hopefully now we have our way. Let's just check our things are working. I don't think we need this, but no, we do actually. We don't want to normalize. I don't really know why we have this, because you can normalize a 0. Can you normalize a 0 vector? If the length of a vector is 0, no, you end up with a division by 0, don't you? Because you have the vector divided by the length of the vector, that gives you a normalized vector, and if the length of the vector is 0, then you get a division by 0. Howdy, how you doing, dude? Revere. Hope you're having a great day, dude. I mean, you basically become God in programming, in a sense. Like, you can make whatever you want. 100%. I think early on when I was like learning how to code, someone said something very similar to what you just said there about programming. Programming is the ultimate Lego, in the sense that you can literally make anything you want. It's basically the same thing. Good. Also working on a Vulkan side project here. As I watch you. Nice, dude. I love that. I feel like a lot of my content, well, my live streams at least, are a second monitor content. So, you know, I wish you success with your project. Okay, so the update function requires just delta time, and I don't think it even requires that, to be honest. Oh, this song is so good. Okay, so let's just see our velocity. No, first thing we got to check is, does WASD actually move properly? Oh. What? Cool, so yeah, D did do something, right? And I'm going to press F5 and just see how that affected things. Oh, you see that, gang? That looks smooth. Okay, so it looks like we have velocity instead of acceleration. And we'll see how that works relative to our camera. Yeah, like I said, ignore the horrible whiteness. It's just the overblown light. So interesting that the duck moved and now it, oh, hang on. What? Why are you moving? I need to fix this. I thought I fixed this just before the stream ended yesterday, but I guess I didn't. This is very strange. Give me a second. We had movement, I believe, when we pressed D, right? Let's try that again. Okay, we'll press F5. D. F5. No. I must have deleted myself. Okay, so let's fix the these spheres, because they're all messed up at the moment. Been playing with FastGLTF, as it has SIMD, then learned it's based on SIMD JSON, which I'm now using to serialize, which I've been using to serialize scene data. Ah, there we go, yeah. I think I'm on FastGLTF myself as well. Oh no, I'm on CGLTF. Apologies, not quite the same. It is a little slower. I can't remember why I went with this now, but I did go with this for a reason. There was a reason. I think these are the two you would want to choose fast GLTF or CGLTF. I think fast GLTF is faster, but it's... I can't remember. I literally can't remember why I chose that over the others. I know CGLTF is a C version of a GLTF parser. But yeah, anyway, so we're not getting any movement, but I want to check. I want to fix the sphere first. So we did this live last time, and I'm gonna have to do it live again, unfortunately. Let's download these guys and actually fix this for real this time, and not accidentally delete it. So my CMake project is overwriting these things. Okay, they're already here. Let's open up Blender. Yo, Shadow. How you doing, dude? Also, do you know that make a block in Scratch function are basically that? Oh, really? Just like, they just like export a sealed... They do GLTF encoding and decoding. I'm too late to this game development thing. Been waiting to start for 8 years. We're finally starting. I'm not going to stop. Love that, dude. Do it. It's one of these things where I think, oh, no, we don't want GLTF. Actually, I clicked the wrong thing because I was yapping. Like, who cares if you're too late? Like, what does that actually mean? That's what I think about it. And it seems a weird thing to say, but... Oh, okay, so we actually have to... Because, you know, let's just say you were too late. This is something I've had in my own head, like I should have been coding earlier, right? So this is just my own thoughts on this. You were too late. You didn't code enough. You took too many breaks, etc. You know, I'm still gonna have fun personally. I'm still gonna enjoy the process, and you know, enjoy how far I'm gonna go. Like I just want to see how far I can go with this kind of stuff. If I make it, if I don't, it doesn't really matter. It's like I'm not dependent on the outcome. Which, okay, so, which for me is a very important, like, way of thinking. So, in my opinion, no one's too late. Because you could be wrong, either way, and if you are wrong, if you are too late, then what are you going to do? Just give up? That's kind of lame. That's kind of, to put it crassly, like a pussy move, to be honest. But if you aren't too late, then... You know, just keep going. Don't doubt yourself. Okay, so officially, I feel like... Oh. That was... Let me fix that again. I copied the wrong thing again. This is the problem. I keep... Because it's called the same thing. Yes, export. Okay, so let's export it with a different name. And then delete the original. How about we do that, hey? So export that, and we'll export it to the other place, and we'll call it 1 as well, and we'll delete the original then. So we know for sure that we've actually got this sphere, and we can work with this sphere. And I see what the problem is now. Okay, we're in debug. We're in a completely wrong folder. Oh dear. We should have been in the assets folder the whole time. Never mind. Right, so we're going to go to source. And export. There we go. Never too old. I'm in my 40s. And came from finance and education. Exactly. That's I love that. I love that, you know. Never too old. I care because I hate my job and want to quit. Yes. If you get good enough, you can definitely do it. But the problem is getting good enough. That's the tough part that no one talks about. Yeah, but yeah, you're never too. No one's too old. No one's too young as well. Because I know Nilo just said they're 13 years old. They can also just be absolutely cracked at this and do amazing things. So yeah, don't limit yourself, gang. Okay, so it looks like we have everything set up. Let's pray we actually got the right thing here, right? Okay, so our models are wireframe. Wait, that is moving. What? Oh, it's moving super slow. You see that? Okay. Weird. Okay, that's strange. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. What I'm going to do is increase the the speed at which we're doing that. So hopefully we can see just by this modifier here. So I think we're going to go a quick, I don't know, 40x on top of what we did. Now this is obviously probably going to accelerate things to an absolute extreme, but I kind of want that without it going too fast that it disappears off the face of the earth. So yeah, okay, cool. Interesting that it doesn't come back. I'm pressing dub. I'm pressing S. Okay, so it moves this way, it moves that way. Okay, that's good, that's good. But yeah, it's not coming back on us for some reason. This is obviously too fast, so I'm going to put this down to 10. But that's good. That's like, that's progressing in the right direction. So, oh, that's why. That will do it. 2 W's, no S's. There we go. Let's try that again. And, okay. Whoa. Still a bit quick, and the W and the S are backwards. Yeah, it's still a bit quick there, but it's getting there. Let's go with 5. Okay, it's funny how it moves just before the... Okay, cool. This is almost as fast as the camera. I know we had this earlier, but the thing is with this, I believe it's going to touch the... It's going to interact with the physics system. Unlike before, where it didn't actually work. So yeah, I think it's a little too quick still. I'm going to go down to 3. One day, I want a mechanical keyboard and feel like a programmer / gamer. Yeah, go for it. I actually don't like those keyboards personally, but I know a lot of people do. Why aren't you attaching the camera to the player? That's a bit trickier than it makes out, unfortunately. The actual way you do this is you have to set up the... That will happen eventually. Okay, I think that's... Ooh. So it is trying to keep up with the camera, but it doesn't obviously. Right, so what I want to test while we're floating around in space is, can I point this in the direction of a asteroid? I might make the asteroid size smaller actually. Let's just, because I want to test before we go any further, I want to see if this object is actually going to stop when it hits an asteroid, which is very important. If that doesn't happen, then I don't really care if this is looking funky. That needs to be the first priority. So, do you have a second monitor? No, I don't even have that. What you're seeing is... sorry, I'm able to read chat because I've got a laptop open right next to me. But no second monitor. Okay, hopefully... Yes! You see that? You see that? Okay, now it's just gonna It won't go in the... I wish you could go... How do I go up? Yeah, okay, so it's going to crash into that. No, crashing that. It doesn't go through it. So our player movement is actually correct now. In the sense that it doesn't go into the... Oh, okay, this is terrible. I've gone in it. Okay, cool. I think we'll rock with the smaller set of space right now. Just it's easier to demo things. So a lot of my setup is on the kitchen table, in a really small flat. So yeah, I don't have a really cool fancy setup. Funnily enough, for some reason there's a bit of a meme going around that the more scuffed you set up, the more cracked you are as a programmer. I'm enjoying that meme because that's kind of my setup is extremely scuffed. Okay, so yeah, in the kitchen. There's no room where I sleep, so you might, if you're around long enough, you'll hear some kitchen banging and people using the kitchen and stuff, like pots and pans and stuff. Okay, so right, the next step. What do I want to do? I gotta think now, because unfortunately this is a bit abstract. We move in the negative Z and negative Y direction. Okay. Ideally, we just want to have W. But that needs to be offset based on the rotation of the camera. Let's just see how that looks for now. Okay, so let's just pretend, for example, we have a game that doesn't completely break. I think it's inverted. It's going up and down at the wrong speed, so sorry, at the wrong time. Okay, so let's think about this. What do we... let's start that again. So the velocity is moving... Sorry, not that. It's the... I think what we need to do is invert the thing, maybe? Let's try that. So when we move, we're going up. We should be going up with the camera, not down with the camera. Oh. Oh, interesting now. But does this fix the... It kind of does. But now we're going backwards again, so let's just change the direction again. Which is pretty easy to do. And if I look up, I'm just pressing W, but obviously as soon as I turn around, it doesn't follow me. If I go the other way, where's the duck? Is the duck still here? Yeah, it's following me, but it's not rotating to where I face. So if I do this, it's just behind me, I think. Where's it gone? Oh, it's there. Okay, so it's... We're getting there, but it's just a bit odd. We have to like guide the player camera, which is the we're fighting the camera, we're fighting the player. This is very hard to control, but we can control something, so that's progress. That's progress. Okay. Okay. Yes, I am moving them separately, because the way you move the player, unfortunately, is very different from how you move the camera. So now I'm going to figure out... we do have a camera... We do have the camera vector. But that's all we have. I'm not entirely sure that we've got the forward camera, to be honest. I'm going to check. So I'm going to break everything for a bit. I'm going to put the up vector in. Yeah, so just bear with me. I'm just going to play around with the different... what is the forward vector in this case versus what we're doing? Okay, so we zoomed out. Left and right follow exactly right. Okay. This is very trippy. Okay, let's get rid of that negative sign and just see how it's just behaving without that for now. I just have to check. Okay, I don't think it's the up vector because we're getting some weird results here with this. Yeah, we're getting very strange results, and I doubt that's even correct. So I don't think it's the up vector. We can rule that out. The other vector I have is the right vector, which doesn't strike me as the forward vector. So I think this is the least likely to make any sense. Also, I don't have school tomorrow, and it's not because of a holiday, nor because I'm sick. It's something to do with teachers having a meeting or something. Oh yeah, we used to call them in. Well, we still call them in England. They're called inset days. Okay, so that's W and it's moving sideways. If I press D, this also moves sideways. What about S? We're just spinning around, but we're just further away. What's D do? Okay, so A and D, A and S do something. They go... Okay, I don't really know what's going on here. Yeah, I think it is the direction vector. It could be the position vector. Hang on, let me just try a couple of things, right? I don't know what the forward vector means in the context of what the player movement needs to do versus the camera. So there's a lot of experimenting here. So we have the position vector. I think this might be interesting if I can make it negative. Well, should we just throw that in there just for ease? Oh, we can't do that, okay. Okay, I'm pushing C++ a bit there, admittedly. But yeah, okay, let's do a negative. Let me see what to do next. How does that work? No, I think this. I think we had it right first time. Hi, Lucador. Hopefully that's remotely correct. The stream has been on for an hour, and I'm still not quite sure what you were trying to do. If you don't know what's going on, you should put a breakpoint in there and see what happens. So you're not quite sure. Okay, so what we're trying to do right now is just get the player movement to make kind of sense based on the camera's forward vector. I don't know what the forward vector is, but I believe it's the direction vector of our camera that we use. Also, thank you for your comment on my video. I did see that, actually. Just so you're aware about using Tracy. That will be part of the engine, just to answer that question quickly. Or that suggestion. So yeah, we're just trying to figure out, because when we do a camera transform, This is just so I can explain it better. If you're saying you don't know what's going on, there's a lot of other people who are probably confused. So we do a pitch and yaw. We construct quaternions from that. This is what these are. Then we take those and we multiply those quaternions together, normalize them so we have a rotation, and then we basically do the standard make transformation matrix, and then we multiply a rotation matrix made from that quaternion with pitch and yaw quaternions multiplied together. Thanks to our library here, it's very, very simple. And then we have a view matrix. The view matrix is where what the camera sees its position, right? It's before we apply the perspective. So this is the camera space. We have 3 vectors here, right, up, and direction. And they basically extract elements from the view matrix of our camera. So that's basically where the camera is looking, etc. Like I said, these all have different values, so they all mean different things. And when another API says we use the forward camera vector, we have right, up, and direction. I think this means forward when I've looked at things. So this still isn't quite right though, because because we know that this is now forward based on trial and error, we now have to deal with the fact that the camera movement doesn't really match up very well with the player anymore. It's kind of like disjointed. We're updating the player camera and the player's position and the camera's position very, very differently, right? So the problem here is let me go into the player, right? So how it's done in the Jolt physics engine, which is what I'm using, it sets the position based on a single component, so Z or X, set to 1. Then it's normalized if it's not 0. And then it does this camera, then it just like adds rotation to the position. This means that our camera updating with the pitch and yaw thing and that quaternion matrix and all that kind of stuff is completely done differently in the Jolt physics engine. So the challenge for me right now is to actually figure out how we can get that movement of the camera when it constructs a view matrix, translate that into the Jolt physics engine's way of doing things, so we can have the player update in sync with the camera. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as just translating what we've done in the camera code and putting it in the player code, because then we get velocity times by time, which means we get acceleration. And as soon as we get acceleration, as soon as we press the W key, the player just keeps going on forever with velocity when we're not moving. And when we press W, it accelerates. So that's not right. Unfortunately, this is going to be a bit tricky to figure out, this interaction. So I hope that makes sense. That's what we're tackling today. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for suggesting, by the way. Anyone who doesn't understand, ask me questions, because it does help me formulate my thoughts. And yeah. So yeah, let me read what everyone else said. You can construct a vector with WASD and transform it into world space. Yes, I have done that for both, but in 2 different ways. Yes, the camera relative. So JTagger said yes. Yeah, it's camera relative. That handled by the cam code follow. You don't read imports and the camera separately. You move the player and have the camera follow it. Yeah, maybe I'm doing this backwards. Maybe the player needs to direct the camera, actually. I hadn't had that in my head. I'm Ratchet. Hi, JTag, welcome to the stream again. I don't know if I've said hi, but I can say it twice. Ratchet, to me it makes more logical sense for the camera to follow the player instead. It seems like you're trying to do the opposite thing. Yes, I think you're both right there. Sometimes I have the wrong conceptual model, and then that can lead me down a bad path. This is why it's good to, if someone's a bit confused with what I'm doing, allowing allowing me to explain it actually does help, because I think you might be right here. So instead of, where's the camera updating code where I actually update the camera's position? What we can do is we can set the vector as so this is the internal camera's aspect ratio. Where is the camera code? Oh, the handle event code. Input handler, where else is it used? So there's F, and there should be a camera internal update or something. That's not it, I don't think. That just does the callbacks. Okay, here it is. So what we don't want is this. So I think what we need is the player to update these values, I think, based on what we've pressed. And then that means that the camera will be updating based on what the player's done. Yes, everyone, your JTAG, I'll try and do exactly what you're describing. Your current camera is... Yeah. Yes, 100%. Your current camera is what we call a free camera, which doesn't follow anything. Yes. So for some reason Discord is off the Play Store. I don't know why that is. It might be a regional thing. More complex cameras having to orbit things. It follows. Yes. Okay, cool. Let's okay, so everyone has said, I think the unanimous decision here is that I should be doing something different. I don't want to have remove my free camera, so let's have a new camera function which takes in the player input as well, and we'll do that. Cool. I think we still need to do rotation though, or maybe not. What I'll do is I'll make it extremely simple. So player camera, update player camera, maybe update player camera, and we shall do everything that people are saying that we should do. Sure, we can follow the same pattern here. Yeah, we need all these variables, and we need the player as well, I guess. Yeah, that's a good point. I could open up Unity and make a demo game. I did it once, but I did it years ago. You're not wrong. It is something that I should try, but I'm gonna for these type of issues. All right, so we're gonna take all the arguments that we need. So I think. Let me think for a minute. So if we just have the player's vectors, the player camera. Let me think. So what I'm thinking about is how much of this do we actually need? And yes, we could just add the direction vectors based on the player instead. But is it possible that we already have everything that we need in its entirety? And all we really need to do is set the position and rotation from the player itself. And my answer is, I don't know. We shall see. I think what I need to do in that case is figure out what we can be passing to the player camera based on our calculations that we've done with the player itself. You've done something similar in school. Oh, with a 3D similar project. Yes, the only input is the camera is needed. The mouse rotation. What follows? None. Okay. Yes. Okay. Let's do it. Let's figure out what's in player and what we need to make accessible based on our calculations. So we have player movement, but that's the actual direction vector. I might rename that. What I think we need to do is let me just see if this makes sense. So get position, I think, character. Now the character is going to be on top of the camera, which I'm completely fine with for now, because then I want to add the offset afterwards to make sure it works right, because the offset is kind of a little trickier. Get, in a sense that if I rotate, will the offset in the right direction make sense? I think that's what we want to do. I think we just need to get rotation and position based on the character. And the character is already accessible, I believe, so yeah, okay, so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to pass these into our function. And we're going to see, oops, that's not it. Yeah, a lot of gameplay code that we're doing today, eh? Camera. Where's our camera? There it is. So we want nothing in here other than a, let's go to the header. So const vec3 position and const vec3's rotation, and this is just to fill up this the data that's needed to construct the view matrix, and I think that's all we care about right now. We shall see what, for example, these two, right? This is all I care about, these two values. Which I believe, do we have rotation? Yes, so but it's a quaternion. I think that's fine. I think that's completely chill. In fact, we don't. We need it to be a quaternion then. Visors. Visors. I keep forgetting what these are called. This needs to be a reference. Sorry, I've made this. I made a silly mistake there. Const values, not. I did a const value, not a const reference, which is wrong. Cool. Okay. Lol, I've sent a link to my school project GitHub, but YouTube silenced it. Yeah, unfortunately I don't know why YouTube has done that. If you do think you've got a resource for me and you want to share it, there is a resource channel in my Discord server which you can provide links. Toby or Tobestick, as he is on Discord, has actually just shared something he's done earlier on in the stream. So if you do have that, you can do that. So what we need to do is very, very simple now. Position is equal to position. And rotation is rotation. Rotation. But yeah, you have to join my Discord. If you want a link for it, just let me know and I can grab you one. You don't really need to modify the player's rotation to match the camera. Let me read the rest of the chat. So normally you have a sort of loop. WASD moves the player and the camera follows the player, then the camera orbits the player hanging onto its own rotation. And the camera follows the player, then the camera orbits the player handling its own rotation. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, so we just do position for now then. Yeah, we're gonna have to do our own kind of calculation based on. Let me think. So. We already kind of do that. Oh no, this is the... That's wrong. Okay, so... Let's throw this back in for a minute. So if we're going to handle our own rotation, we're going to need delta time. And okay. So rotation speed, we already said that. Target pitch, which I think is calculated there, based on the Y position. What about yaw? Okay, so we need to calculate these based on some value that isn't just our camera move, our mouse movement. So for now, I think this is relevant to leave in just for demo reasons. You threw it in resource chat. Yeah, thank you. Yo, Void, how you doing, dude? Hope you're having a great day. We're just working on the player camera right now. We're trying to get it to be different from what we're using. Because I had the wrong internal model. We're having to write this and think about this as we go. Which, yeah, people are helping out. People are helping me out with in chat, which is very much appreciated. But yeah, just be patient with me if I'm taking a bit longer than you would like. Having to learn on the fly and code is a bit. Yeah, it's a bit tough, which I hope people can appreciate. Okay, so we want to free camera. We don't have the free camera anymore. So let's at least see what happens, right? So I'm gonna leave in the stuff that's dependent on the camera's rotation with our mouse, so we can. I want to see if, like, if we were to handle rotation correctly, have we got the position? That's what I want to. That's what I want to ask. So that's my goal. That's the reason I had that there. Oh no, we just need player. Oops, player dot character dot get position, and that needs to be converted. Convert to not this, but the other one. It's the first one I saw. Oh no, let's write another conversion function. Okay, but for now we're just going to write a oh, we didn't do a comma. And delta time. So the rotation variable is probably not going to be used because we need to calculate that internally. And everything should be good if now we're following the player. We still have the right button that does the dragging and stuff. Okay, so we'll eventually remove this for basically based on our camera. Yo, chat, do be good. Yes, 100%. Prathamu. Yeah, welcome, by the way. I was working on my Android. I was working on my Android open source app. Oh, cool. I hope it went well. And your brain isn't too fried. Right, okay, so we have a player position, we have a camera. Right, let's just see what happens, right? There probably needs to be an offset here, but we shall roll with what we've done. Let's see. Okay. We are staring into space. No rotation works at all. Let's see here. What did I do wrong? Let's get rid of the rotation for a minute, and just leave it just as position. Just see if that was. We might be forced to look in a different direction, right? Camera. I'm pressing WASD, and I don't see the player. Let's add an offset then. I don't know what the offset direction needs to be. But we need to add scale vector, I think. Yeah, I think that's it. No, that's adding 2 vectors. But it should be in here somewhere. Scale. Alright, so I'm just gonna kind of just do an offset based on the position and like a random value. So like 10. Vec3s. Can you launch the game? I just came back. This is what it looks like. Pretty busted right now. No offset. Interesting. I don't know what we're looking at, to be honest. Maybe the conversion's wrong. Let me rule out things bit by bit, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore the player for a minute and just see how my camera works, right? Because if it's completely busted, we'll find out if it's just in an arbitrary place. What I think's happening is we're being sent off to infinity or something like that. No, we're missing something then. So it doesn't matter what the player position is, it's not working. Okay, so the scale vector was wrong anyway. That didn't do anything. So we're missing something, and I need to figure out what we did here that's different. So these are all. Let's grab this in and put the rotation in of a free camera and just see. So we're gonna unfortunately have to have input handler input comma, and we just want to see why when we have a strict value like 1 does the camera look at nothing. I'm going to increase the scene size as well, because I want to see something in the distance effectively. The game looks fire. There we go. Yes, we just have a single image. So input handler. Let's see. So we have the rotation back in from the free camera, and we have a strict position. Nope. What did I get wrong here? Oh, right. So we need those two as well, which is a little awkward. Fine. We will remove these shortly. This is just an experiment now. We need to know. Window width and float window height. And let's see. Cool. So that should be fine now. It seems weird to me that when faced with something weird, you don't immediately drop into the debugger and see what the variables are. The issue with this particular problem is I don't know what the values need to be, because this is just an arbitrary position vector. It's possible that we've got an infinite vector, but we've already established that 0, 2, and 1 are the values. So our view projection matrix that we end up constructing, if I was to look at those values, for example, we would just see numbers, and that doesn't mean anything to me. The only thing that we would be able to, what might be useful is opening up render doc. Actually, we might do that. Yeah, weird. Oh, we're not setting rotation. Derp. Okay, that was just me being daft. Of course, we weren't going to get anything if I didn't even set the rotation. Nope. Interesting. I'm getting suspicious now. Okay, so let's comment this out for a bit, right? And we're just going to put the free camera back in. Because I have a feeling... maybe this is it. I think that's what we needed to do the whole time, and I've missed it out. Let's just throw that in. Restart the music. For some reason, it's decided to fall out the playlist, which happens sometimes. And we'll go next, because we already had that music. We already had that one. Okay. And Death Blow we can skip. Okay, good. Right. So we can't rotate. But the player is moving and we're not. So let's... So it's just me missing a simple thing. Updating the camera. Okay, so the next thing I need to figure out is... Well, what I want to do is put back in the player position. Get character, get position. And that needs to be converted to our lovely conversion function. Convert, oops, vec. Jeez, I did that wrong anyway. Oh, is it the other way around? Oh, it is, yeah. Okay. You fixed like 3 issues, which immediately you noticed. You had a breakpoint there. Which you would have, I think you said which you would have noticed if you had a breakpoint there. Okay. Well, we'll do breakpoints and I'll explain why it's not as useful as I think it is. Okay, so things aren't working right. Let's put a breakpoint in. Oh, things aren't used. Okay, so this is really obvious why things aren't working. I just had to comment it out code. Right, let's try that again. If it doesn't work again, we can... Yep. Okay, so the player is on top of us. Fantastic. We rotate. We actually won't need a breakpoint because that's exactly where we need it to be. Okay. Right, okay, so now we need to do an offset. The camera needs to be lagging behind. So we don't actually need to do what we were doing. I'm rotating myself for now. Right. What do I want to do? How do I want to do an offset? So we have a vector of x, y, z. That's the position. Now it's not like we can just do -10 and just assume that's going to work, because what does that mean in every single direction? And we also need to do an no, let's do the simplest, right? People are saying that this is how simple it needs to be. I will go along with what people are doing. Sorry, add scalar? Scale add? No, we had this before, didn't we? So let's go into here, do a scale, look for a scale. So it's GLM's vec3 scale. S, which takes in our position, and we're just going to scale back by -10 and just see, based on that offset in every direction, does it actually make sense? And then we need to deal with rotation afterwards, so -10. But I am kind of curious, right? Huh. Why aren't you moving? Have I got the free camera again? Okay. Do you recommend Visual Studios or VS Code? It depends on what you're trying to do. Visual Studios has a debugger in it. Visual Studio Code can do debugging. It depends. Like if you're in my opinion, I would say Visual Studio, but that's because I know Visual Studio. I know other people like Visual Studio Code. If you're on Linux, you can't use Visual Studio anyway, I don't think. I'm actually not sure about that. You subtract the forwards vector times distance. Sure, let's do that. So the forward vector... so you subtract the forward vector. So that would be sub... Is that for the position or rotation? Are you making your own physics engine? Sorry, I read that. I thought you were someone else. Linguistic Mirage? No. I'm using Jolt's physics engine. I've written my own physics engine in the past, and holy, I don't need to do that again. It is on GitHub if you're interested. It's called Wind. Do you want a text editor or an IDE? That's basically the question you need to... Nilo? That's what you want to ask. Do you need an IDE, integrated development environment, or do you want a text editor? Okay. Someone has sent me something in Discord, so I'm just going to read that for a moment. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I will do... so, camera's forward vector, which is just direction. Where's direction? Oh no, it's internal camera. And times by an offset, so I'm just going to say 10. And... oh, GLMs. So GLM. What's the bloody multiply by scale vector function? Scale. I think it's just GLM scale. I think. We'll see. Vec3 scale. So we have a thing, and we have our scale factor, which I'm going to put as 10.f. Oh, hi Jackie, Jen. Oh, this was. Oh, hello. Yep. Hello. How you doing, dude? So that's our forward vector, and that needs to be negative our position. No, I think I need to also do the GLMs again. Vec3 sub and comment. Cool, right? That's the position. I'll leave rotation for a minute. There is another piece of code that we're going to do for rotation. Okay. Oh, yes. So that is definitely updating by the player position. But it's the wrong direction, I think. Let's do a negative scale on our forward vector. Very cool. Thank you for that, by the way. Right, let's crash this into something, right? Okay, we're going the wrong way. But so S is forwards. Actually, I'm gonna reduce the scene again. We'll do rotation in a minute. I'm installing JetBrains C-Line, which is, I think it's paid for that. Yeah. Yeah, we can totally change our vector. Let me do something else first. And then we'll worry about rotation in a minute. I just want to make everything smaller. So when we do this, nice, cool. Nice. That's good. That's nice progress. Okay, so we need to negative our forward vector. Where is that? That'd be in player again. So we're getting there, gang. We're getting there, one step at a time. Yeah, thanks for all the help, by the way. I know I don't know if people are getting frustrated. I hope that's not the case. I am trying my best. Hopefully people can appreciate that. So we can just negative the forward vector. Oh, hang on. We can just... or we could just change the player to move forward instead of backwards. That seems easier to me. I think it was like this anyway. Oh, okay. So C-Line is free. Okay, that's good to know. I actually have never used C-Line, so... crash. Bing. And these are backwards. Let's change them as well. Cool, we have a lovely... Let's crash into something again. Skadoosh. This is quite funny. Let's see. Okay, so we've done that. We've done... alright, what have we done? Sorry. Okay, so JTAG, you have, I think, provided me how to do rotation. Let's look at that. So this is in the Discord. I will look. But I'll look at my other monitor, so you won't be able to see what I'm looking at. Just for people who are interested, there is a Discord server. Okay, so we won't need this in a minute, but we have rotation apparently. Or something similar to rotation. Yeah, appreciate that, Nila. I just I know it seems funny, but part of the problem is I don't really know how to do anything else other than this. So position, velocity, time. What have we got then? So we got target position. We've heard this song twice today. Interesting. Let me add rotation back in. I don't know. I think actually what we want to do is, give me a minute. Yeah, this is it, right? Oh, well, why aren't we going down? Okay, we are getting there though. We are stuck on the we're stuck on one axis. Screeish. Except when we get updated. So what do we do here? That's a lot better. I think what's happening is when we update the player's position, we zero out the Y, I think. I think that's the issue for our moving down. We're kind of stuck in Y. No. We're only moving in... No, okay. I just want to crash into something just for fun. Okay. Yeah, this is where the cam's relative movement comes in. To move the player in the forward-looking direction. Oh, so this is what you've done here in the update camera and player. So I didn't quite understand what you did, but let's have a look again. Pseudocode example for camera following the player. I'm just looking at my code again, just briefly. And just making sure that what we have is something. So let me read. Damn, that looks really cool, even though... I appreciate that, Jackie, honestly. Yeah, you can honestly thank the chat for getting the camera working today. More than me. Okay, let's just try and read. Okay, yeah, this is where the cam's relative movement comes in to move the player in the forward-looking direction. This is where the camera's relative movement comes in to move the player in the forward direction of the camera. So you are basically able to fly the player around. I don't understand anything. Yeah, it's so what we're trying to do at the moment, I'll explain. We're getting there. So this only moves in the X, Y, and jumping handles Y by the collision, etc. Well, the example I gave is just used by a normal player that would have physics like in a third-person character. Yeah. So we're trying to make a... Ignore that. We're trying to make a little spaceship game. And what we're trying to do at the moment is you see this character is stuck to the player camera, which is fantastic. If I press W, it stays in the X and Z. So X and Z are left, right, and forwards and backwards. It's not up or down, and that's the problem right now. We're trying to free the duck so it can move in all 6 directions. So we're just missing 2. And I think it's what people have been saying is the fact. Hang on, maybe that's it. I think I'm zeroing out Y. We'll see. I wanna keep working on this to. Is that? Yes. Okay, that was it. So crash. Oh no, I crashed. We did it. So this will be replaced by a spaceship rather than just a rubber duck. But yeah, this is player movement for the most part fixed. There's a couple of things I need to fix on top of this. I need to have the collision mesh move around with... so that's what that white sphere is. It's not moving with the player. But yeah, congratulations, guys. Thank you. Yeah, spacey duck floating in endless space. Appreciate everyone who helped, honestly. No, don't replace the duck. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's thank you guys, honestly. Thank you for bearing with me as well. Appreciate all the help. Cool. Right, let's get rid of all these stuff. And scene, we can make the scene bigger again. Do I want to make it bigger? I don't know. Rest in peace, duck. Add thrusters to the day. I'll just make it a duck game. I do want to make it kind of silly. I have to admit that is the goal. It's going to be a quite silly, goofy game. It's not going to be a very super serious space game. So yeah, fantastic. We are close to being done. We just need to have that collision mesh move with the player, which isn't going to be too difficult, I don't think. Okay, so this needs to be deleted. And we update the position. So what? Why aren't you updating the collision mesh? I think I don't know if we could say this, but we might have a game at this point. I don't know when a graphics moving around on a screen becomes a game. I always say there's got to be a win-lose condition. But you could argue that we're kind of there. The game is incredibly boring. Well, that's subjective. But I guess if people weren't in the chat cheering for the duck, the game would probably, with no context, be a little bit more boring. But that's kind of cool. That you could argue that we are reaching a point where this is becoming a game. Hello, Emmanuel. Hope you're having a great day, dude. Thanks for joining us. If you win, you find the rubber. Yeah, you find the duck. Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, it's I don't know. Is Doom Classic a game? Yes, totally. So you can die in that. I don't know what the strict definition of a game is, but there are games that you can't die in. You can't really lose, you can't really win, and they're technically games, like walking simulators, for example. We have a duck simulator, I guess. Anyway, so let's figure out this before we ramble off and not get anything done. Okay, so for some reason, why aren't you updating? This is the confusing part for me. Right, okay, of course. I understand now. So, yeah, I understand. So, our player entity is completely separate from the entity list. I don't think that's too much of an issue. So, oh, hang on, that's not right. So we can easily add an extra if statement, and I think that's going to be quite straightforward. So if entity entity dot is player. I know it's a bit clumsy to have a boolean in data-oriented design, at least. So I'm just gonna say equal to false. Then we grab this, do it again. Oops, do it again. And the entity, so we need to actually access the player in the same way that we've done here. And that is that. So I'm going to grab all this. What did we do different? We're not going to update the player though, obviously. We want rendering data. The only difference is we do this for our debug geometry. I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's everything. So that should be updating our guy. Let's see the game. Right, let's see the game. Let's see the game. Let's see. If I say it enough, it will be a game. Yeah, okay, so the duck and the collision sphere are following. Obviously, it's the wrong size, though. I will make it. I think I'm going to make a different collision piece of geometry, but yeah. You can see that the duck isn't technically touching the collision sphere, but now we can see the physics engine is working on this. But we need to now make the player and the duck the same size. As you can see, like we can go through the geometry, which isn't good. This is why you need a debugged renderer, to be honest. Anyway, let's catch up. That's a lot of people in the chat. There we go, yeah. Reminds me of when I rooted for a small indie YouTuber, then, oh, they got too big and it just felt crowded. I hope that doesn't end up being the case. If it does get crowded, I'll be very surprised if it gets crowded. I'm not a big YouTuber, and I don't think I'll ever be a successful big YouTuber. And if I do, I'll remember everyone who's been around since the beginning. You know, honestly. Right, so let's make this geometry a bit bigger so it surrounds the player, which is quite easy to do. So oh, appreciate that. Yeah, no, yeah, I think we got it. At least I understand basic C++. So I don't just watch mindlessly. There you go, 100%. Cakes. Is someone called Cakes? Cakes has been around a really long time. I was happy to see his game blow up. Hope it does the same for you, Escape. Oh, appreciate that, dude. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for long enough. You know, not on stream, but off stream. Still got to get better, though. I don't think I'm a good enough engineer. There's a lot of things I need to know and learn, so I'll try my best, and if we don't end up ever being successful, at least I'll be able to say I tried, and that's all that matters to me, to be honest. If I release a game on the internet and no one cares, then that's fine. I don't do it to be successful, and I mean I would like it to be successful. Don't get me wrong, but I do it for the love of the game, and you know, I'm streaming honestly for a couple of reasons, but one of them is to hang out with you guys. It's honestly, it makes the day a lot more enjoyable. So yeah, the outcome of my efforts are completely out of my control, so I just don't really worry about them. It is what it is, as they say. It is what it is. Anyway, geometry. How do I make this bigger? You'll succeed. I love that, dude. Thank you. Did you write C++ in your previous job? Yes, I did. Start debugging and you'll... Fair enough, yeah. Maybe I should add more breakpoints. We have found that I have made silly mistakes today due to lack of... Right, so let's figure out what we want to do here. So why is this collision geometry so small? That's the thing I want to figure out. It's very, very small. Oh, I see. Okay, so this needs to be 1. I think that's literally it. That's all we need to do. You also make my day very enjoyable. Ah, good. Yeah, I'm going to do a lot of learning off stream. Just for the people who are wondering. There we go. That's probably more accurate for what we want at the moment. It's probably a bit too big, to be honest. I wonder if I could... The player... No, I'm going to make the scene smaller as well, because that's going to be easier to test. Make the scene smaller. And the player... I feel like the player needs to be moved down in the collision geometry somehow. Like the origin point of the sphere is too... Now obviously these spheres are not very accurate, but it's like too big and the player's not in the sphere. Let's... Oh, hang on. Why is the sphere not colliding 100%? Oh, hang on. This is not... Okay, all I've done is scaled the collision geometry. I haven't scaled the player's geometry. That's not quite the same thing. So, where do I do that? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so there we go. These need to match. I'll eventually not have them so decoupled. Who inspired... What's the question? Who inspired the most to this journey? Forgive me for my grab. It's no problem. I understood the question. Someone you guys won't know. He is a artist who works on video games. There we go. Okay, so this is accurate. And he was a bit older than me. In about 2012, he invited me. Oh no, maybe 2010 actually. When we were quite young, he wanted me to join his game development adventures and make a video game. And I sucked. I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. What the fuck I was doing, I can just say that. It went poorly, but I had so much fun. It was the funnest time. It's one of the funnest times of my whole life, honestly. Trying to make a video game with a bunch of guys. He was extremely charismatic, this guy, and he would easily attract a bunch of people. And he did, so he attracted a bunch of people to work on his project, and it went nowhere. But I tried my best, and I sucked, and I always blamed myself for that. I always was like, well, if I was just a bit better, if I was just able to do this better at the time, I can get rid of this, I think. Then maybe we would have been able to make something. And for many years after that point, I tried to make games. My games have been like Pong, for example. I've made all sorts of games, game engines and games and stuff like that over the years, to try and never be in that situation again, and be in a situation where I can actually make a game with people I really like. So that's honestly where a lot of my motivation comes from. I don't know if this is a bit of a plug, but I have done an interview out there. If you are interested, if you type escape point into YouTube, one of my friends, Kukatu, has done an interview with me. It's a bit old, but it's if you do want to find out like what am I inspired by and stuff like that, there is that if you're interested. Give him a like if you enjoyed the video, and a sub. He's a cool dude. Yeah, okay, so delete a bunch of code, don't need that anymore. So now I want to move the player down into the collision geometry bit, so let's see if that's even possible. So we know that these are decoupled actually. Let's try and couple them up. Because it is a bit sketchy that I've got collision geometry here and like an arbitrary collision geometry in somewhere else. So, but the problem is, let me think. So lucky to have people around you to encourage what you do. Yeah, 100%. It was honestly so fun back then. But at the same time, it was like it's interesting because it didn't. It's not like it went negative or anything, but he eventually succeeded faster than I did. And so there's always been that aspect of I need to catch up. As he's like he's working in the game studio he's always wanted to work in, working on really cool games. And it's not like I'm completely unsuccessful, like I'm a homeless person or anything. You know, we have to count our blessings too. But it's you know, it's there's a lot of motivation that stemmed from that experience that's helped me keep going over the years. And yeah, so I'm sure people in the chat have like similar experiences where they tried to do something and it didn't go well, and then they ended up trying to get better and then it never stopped. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I remember when me and my friend found out about WoW back in 2004. We had a euphoric time. At some point, downing a boss and finishing rate. Yeah, it's super sick, isn't it? When you get that experience. Let's change the song. This is a 20-minute track. It's cool, but it's we can listen to something else for a bit, I think. Oh, YouTube's repeating music. Let me although this is very cool. It's my favorite from Super Metroid. So we'll just refresh so the YouTube continues to play other music up aside from these 3 tracks it's repeating. Okay, cool. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to move the player down in the collision geometry. How do I do that? Set position, maybe? So the collision geometry is not going to match up, but I'm kind of... How do I... Actually, it's more... I need to draw the position differently. I think this is quite simple, actually. I need to draw the player in a different place. So if I take the model, is that it? I think it is. And I just translate it down just by a couple of units. I think we're just going to achieve the result without any issue. Because it's a visual. The debug geometry is visually explaining where the geometry is. We just need to translate the player into the collision geometry more accurately, so we can shrink the geometry down and we have more of an accurate collision detection thing happening. Visually speaking, nothing will really change. So what I'm going to do is... So we have the model here. Oh no, we have position. Hang on. Is it the position we want to change? I'm not exactly sure. I think it is actually. It's not. I don't think it's the model. The model's the scale of the thing. So I'm going to take position and I'm going to mess around with it, which is a matrix 4. Now I know the translation is basically just so this will be 3.2 and minus 4.f. We'll see. We'll see. Yes, we're going to have audio. That's definitely on the docket. It's on the essential needs to be added to the game yesterday. Okay, wrong way. I think it looked bigger. I don't know. I don't know if that was just me. Want to be inside the geometry. Oh. Wrong. Interesting. Right, I am messing with the raw values here, so this might not work. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I did the wrong value. I just did Z. Or yeah, I just did Z. That was completely wrong. Yep, that's fine. We just need to decrease it very small. A lot smaller than that. Why is the position a matrix? Because it's multi... Yeah, there we go. That's a lot better. So now, let's try and get it down a little bit more, actually. Let's do a... I'll explain that in a minute. I'm just going to try and lock in on this. Because what I want to do is reduce the geometry size to be more accurate to the... yes, okay, so that's perfectly inside. Now we want to make this smaller. So it's actually more accurate. So the shaders multiply all the matrices together effectively. We're using a buffer device address. So everything is just in a big blob in a buffer on the GPU, which is fast considering I've got a decent, more up-to-date graphics card. So we multiply the position by the vertices, which is the vec4, by a scale by the view projection. So our position vector has rotation in as well. It has everything. So it's not just a what is it called? This is a bit jammy, to be honest. I have to admit, but I just want to see. We're doing things a bit jammy at the moment, just so we can get things like cleaner. So yeah, hopefully that explains it. I will leave because I'm a bit bored. No problem at all. You do not have to stick around. This title is misleading now. Oh no. I mean, we're still working on player movement. We're kind of just getting the game feel down a bit more. We might we might literally start working on audio. I have written audio before, so it's going to be relatively quick to do. In my well, we'll see. We'll see how those words come back to bite, but yeah. So yeah, the title has become inaccurate, which is good because that means we've made decent progress. Just the other thing I want to go to scene, and this is oops. This is going to need a big refactor. We might do a big refactor job on stream sometime. Yes, maybe. Close. I think if we just move it in the Z direction, X direction just a touch, I think we're spot on. So yeah, this is a little hacky, admittedly. But we'll eventually do a big refactor and kind of slim everything down. So I think we need a negative, like 1 or something, like, or 2, and then we've got like super, like a more accurate sphere. No, wrong way. But that looks at least what I want. But it's just the other way around. Hey bro, hi. Hey man. Hi Felix. Hope you're having a great day, dude. Perfect. Let's see how this looks / feels. I haven't done this for the geometry, for the, what is it called? The asteroids for now. So yes, we will be able to go through the asteroids, but yes, lovely dude. That feels a lot. If I turn off collision geometry for a minute and I crash into an asteroid, boom. Right, okay, so yeah, we will go through the asteroid in different points. But, you know, at least it's on the asteroid itself rather than the player. So the other thing I want to check is what ends up happening when I crash into another duck. Okay, so yeah, we do end up crashing into it. And it does move. I did wonder if it didn't move. All right. There we go. Yeah, I think it's time to commit this, I think. If you attach thrusters with audio to the duck, it won't be misleading. Yeah, there we go. If you can walk the mesh at load time and construct bounding spheres. Yeah, we're gonna clean up a lot of this is mostly like the reason it's kind of rough at the moment is because I want to see if it's fun, right? It's kind of like if the game isn't fun, like what's the point of making all the tech? So a lot of this is rough on purpose. So we'll do a lot of things. Like I want to add the music next because I want to see, how much music do we need here? Like if we add sound effects and that kind of stuff. Okay, bro, I'm learning music production. Oh, nice one. So if you want, I can make a free track for your game in the style of a lo-fi Halloween or tropic house. Nice. Appreciate that, dude. I don't know what I need at the moment. But if you want to hang out in the Discord server and post up what you're doing, that's chill. Yeah, sounds cool. I hope your music production goes well and you make lots of cool tracks in the future. But yeah, thanks for reaching out and offering stuff. Honestly, I appreciate that. Right, okay. Commit. Let's commit this, right? It's a bit scruffy. It needs refactoring, but we're getting there. We have something. And honestly, I have to mostly thank you guys for the help on this one. I appreciate that a lot. So if you are interested in this particular project, it is linked below. It is open source. You can have a look. You can criticize. You can wince and cringe as my code. Whatever you want to do. But yeah. Let's go and say we added a player to the game. There's as simple as that. We added a player to the game. Cool. And push. Just so people know, what I'm pushing to is the space branch. So make sure if you want to see what we're up to, what we're doing on stream 1-to-1. It is on the space branch because that is more of the development for this particular game. I am putting it over to master, but in bigger chunks because I need to make sure it works on Linux and stuff like that. Which I won't do now because I'll have to restart my computer and I'll disconnect from the live stream. But that's going to be done at some point because I have committed something. Every time I commit something, I make sure it works on Linux because we will have this running on Linux. Okay, so music. So what I'm going to do is be inspired by my old engine and just see how it handled audio. Where are you going to use? Or maybe electronic kind. That sound effects. Yeah, maybe, yeah. I wish you good luck on your journey. Thank you. I'm going to send my music to you on Discord. Please don't mind. No, put it in art music if you want to put it there. People might, you might get other people interested. Being a bit bad because that time I didn't knew what I was doing. No problem. We all learn. Okay, so let's rob a bunch of code that I've written before. So I'm going to use SDL Mixer because I don't want to have to write things that parse wave files and then worry about decompressing files. So yeah, it's not as cool as writing it yourself, I have to admit, but since I'm using SDL, I might as well use the SDL Mixer. I know it's not, like I said, I know it's not as cool, but audio. I did work quite a lot on this, which was nice. It's actually one of my videos. I talk about this particular piece of code. So Yes. What I'm thinking of not doing though, I did something a bit fancy and I don't think it's very good. So I'm just going to puzzle through this for a minute. I, for some reason, decided to look up a directory where my music is and add that to a list. Add that to a list of music. So let's just say I had a directory with I don't know, lots of cool music in. I would look into the directory and then pass through the files, take the file names, use that as an index into a map, but I would hash the strings beforehand, and I would do this at runtime. The problem with that approach is that would be good for if I was making a game engine that anyone could use for any type of game. Doing a bunch of disk lookups at runtime is slow because it pauses the process, because it, you know, there's a bunch of kernel stuff that the operating system has to do if you look at the disk. So what I'm thinking of doing is just literally having everything hard-coded as strings and eventually hash those strings, pre-hash those strings when I release into numbers, so you don't have to hash the strings at all. And then just not, you know, if the user decides to delete a piece of audio, then that's them. Now I know there's ways of doing this with .dat files and having them in like a binary blob, but I think for now, I think simpler is better. And I think this is too complicated to begin with. We need to have a faster iteration time and not worry about having to touch disk. And actually it's here where we do it. That's the shutdown code. But I do like the idea of using a flat map iterator. A flat map to hash over things. Yeah, as you can see, we're looping through this directory. So I'm going to be inspired by this, but we're going to make it way simpler. In all things considered. The first thing we need to do is get SDL Mixer working and get that dependency set up so we can actually copy it over. And unfortunately that means we're going to have to compile SDL Mixer on Linux, because that means a whole kettle of fish when it comes to SDL. We need to, because it doesn't, I don't think, so let's just see if SDL Mixer still has GitHub. SDL Mixer. NVMe SSDs are not that much slower than RAM these days. You're not wrong, actually, to be honest. But if I don't need to do it effectively, that's my mindset right now. Do I need to actually do this? And typically, right now, anyway, for me the answer is no. I don't need to do that. What I've done. It's a nice trick. Yeah, we're not doing that, because not doing something is the fastest. You know, the fastest code is the code that doesn't exist. So that's my mindset. So for now, we're just going to have this working in Visual Studios and worry about Linux later. That might be a whole stream where we get this to work on Linux, because it is a bit more complicated. SDL. Last time I checked, there is no. Oh no, there is pre-compiled stuff. Okay, maybe it won't be that bad. I just had to compile regular SDL on Linux. Anyway, enough rambling. Right, so we need to grab the include, and that's the first thing I'm going to do is grab SDL Mixer and stick that in my vendor folder. Mini audio is great. I used mini audio for mine to keep it very simple. I have actually never heard of mini audio. Yeah, that's why is this here? Oh, okay, so I had the whole repo. I'm just gonna have a quick look up. I'm probably gonna stick with it. STL Mixer because I've used it before for many projects. But let's see what this does. An audio playback. It's made up of a single source file. Oh, no external dependencies. That is tempting. That is tempting. That is tempting. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Just because there's a big... I had to deal with a bloody... You know what? If it doesn't work, I don't have much time left on this stream. Screw it. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's read the documentation. Let's figure it out on the fly. We've been doing that the whole stream. Let's just keep going. Let's screw it, dude. If we can, if this is just as good as oh, did I delete the wrong thing? SDB image, then this might be okay. The path of escape point, hide or hiring. That's it, yeah. Make my own path in life. That's the I deleted a ton of stuff earlier. I need to clean up my downloads. My recycle bin. Where's SDB image? Come back. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to delete you. There it is. Okay, restore. Let's put that back. I apologize to Sean Barris for deleting your lovely library. So let's take this, download, and okay. Vendor mini audio. Let's try it, dudes. Let's try it. I mean, I'll load it into my project and read the documentation when it's colored in. But we're gonna move SDL Mixer for a minute and mini audio. We're gonna have that in. The landing for the GitHub shows examples. Fantastic. Let's use that. Okay, so we have nice documentation apparently. Mini audio. This might be like really good. This might be just because if I can reduce my dependencies, that's W. That's why I'm because it's one file. It's like so handy. So yeah, thanks for suggesting this, guys. I will try to figure out this as we go. Nice. Okay, this looks very similar to SDB. For people who don't know, SDB is like the best library I've ever used in my life. Sean Barrett is one of the absolute goats of game development history. And he has made a image library that for free, and a bunch of other utilities under the SDB moniker / acronym. I don't know what it means. So because of that, I'm very excited by the fact that this is just one file, because we might have an SDB audio version, SDB image. I have my project down to SDB image. Oh, okay, so you're using nano SVG for text. Nice. I might use that as well. Fast GLTF with mini audio. STL hate detected. I don't have STL hate. I will use this. This is just an experiment. This is just like if it doesn't do what I want, I'm immediately switching to STL Mixer, because STL Mixer is also very good. I like STL. STL allows me to not make mistakes when writing X11 code and Wayland code and Windows code. It handles the surface for Vulkan very well. It resizes nicely. It's DPI aware. It's It's very, very good. It's very, very good. I really like it over GLFW. GLFW is fine. I've used both, but I prefer SDL 100%. Okay, so we need to include a new... No, we don't, actually. In fact, this is simpler than I thought. We could just throw this in. Let's refresh our... so we should hopefully have something in our externals that's picking up a mini audio. Ah, yes. SDB true type for my text, and nano SVG is used for icons. Okay, okay. I like that. I have too many dependencies to list here, lol. Oh no. That's funny. Let's see if it's here. Yeah, I think I've also got SDB under IMGUI here. True fonts. Where is this thing? Okay, okay, this is going to be a really simple check, right? I can just throw this into main and see if miniaudio.h exists in vendor. And if it doesn't, then miniaudio.h. Now, do you know where this is? Go to there. Okay, cool. Fantastic. Okay, so we got the docs there. So unfortunately, because I've never used this library before, I'm literally going to have to read the docs. I hope that isn't too boring. But we're going to probably just rattle off an example. We also need some audio. Let's go into my old project, my old engine. I think there's some audio lying around that we can use. Give me a minute. Audio. So... Okay. That's not quite what I want. I want a specific sound that I edited for this. That was just a laser sound. This is more for fun, honestly, what we're doing right now, admittedly. No, okay, so I've accidentally deleted it. What's in here? Okay, yeah, the terrible SDL. Right, I'm just going to quickly sneak into my Windows folder. So I swear I had it here. I edited a sound effects ages ago. I can't exactly remember though where it is. No. Not that. Oh, hang on, this is it. Okay, VLC is going to take a minute to load. Let's, I'm a bit nervous. Let's turn this down for a minute so your ears don't bleed. Just pretend I understand. No, that's all the sound effects. Okay, that's just all the sound effects. I'll have to come back to that, and we'll just use a simple sound effect then. We'll use the laser. Just pretend to understand. If you do want to, understand, just ask and I'll explain. To the best of my abilities, I don't mind explaining it all. I want people to feel included. So, if you do have some questions about what we're talking about, feel free. There is no judgment on my end at all. Okay, so let's just take wave. Laser dot wave, the simplest format that isn't compressed, so there's no worrying about decompressing the audio like with MPEG 3. No, MP3. What am I trying to say? We also need to have an audio folder. So let's make an audio folder. audio. Explain everything, I guess. Okay, I'll explain what we're talking about when we're talking about these. So Sean Barrett was the guy who made the STB libraries, which are used in many, many projects. He wrote code back in the day, in the 90s, when it became very, very difficult to do 3D. So we had Doom, right, if you remember Doom, and then things became real 3D. So Doom fakes 3D. It's called our 2.5 game, 2.5D game. And Sean Barrett, in Looking Glass Studios, I believe the name is, built the renderer for Thief 1 and 2. And for some reason he just decided to bless everyone with these excellent libraries that are all for that all help us out with images. And yeah, that's basically everything. There isn't much else. So what I'm doing with Mini Audio, by the way, is it's a header only library, so it's just all the code is in one place, just like Sean Barrett's SDB image. That's why I'm talking about it so much and comparing it to the same thing. Everything in one header file means I don't have to worry about linking up other code to get it to work. So yeah, hopefully that explains something. His only mistake. Oh, trying to explain everything? Or making Thief or SDB image, I don't quite know. Yeah, exactly. Single headers are fantastic. So just add to your source tree. Okay. I guess that makes sense. We've got to have a translation unit for this. But isn't there a make... Give me a second. I'm just going to scroll through all this for a minute, because what I'm looking for is a include this macro at the beginning. So, yeah. Actually, we can just look at the example. So no, let's just add this to our... let's just do what it said. Let's just add a mini audio.c to my source tree. That's true. Compilation time does increase if you add... oh, does it? Yeah, if it's included everywhere, if I put it in main, it'll be compiled every single time. So there is that. Sidestep it by defining an implementation difference. Yeah. Okay. Age-related disease. How do you know someone is too old for maths? Hi, Matt. Oh, sorry, I didn't realise the chat moved that fast. You are not too old to do maths at all. I don't know how old you are, but I'm doing maths off stream. I don't do it on stream. And yeah, I'm gonna put that in my vendor file. Actually, I'm just gonna. So if we need the C file as well. It's as simple as that. I don't have to explain much more, because if you want to learn maths, learn maths. Start humbly with linear algebra. With algebra. You know, like straight up. Just so I don't know what needs to be in this. I assume nothing, so I'm just going to open this and delete everything in it. I should have just made an empty text document and renamed it, but never mind. So that's there. We have it in our vendor. I don't exactly know if that's enough, so I'm going to include this in and run one piece of code and see if it works, which is going to be this. I'm just going to copy it straight out and just throw it right at the beginning and see what we get. I don't know what result and engine mean. Let's look at that again. Oh, yeah, these two. Okay, so we get these. So yeah, we're going to be very lazy just for a minute, because because I want to see if it's going to work before we begin. First thing is to compile external. Oh no, we need to regenerate our CMake again. And let's go to our CMake. Right, okay, scroll up, rebuild. Yeah, you just have to take maths one step at a time. It's very dependent on knowing other things maths, so yeah. If you don't know your times tables, you're going to have a hard time learning division, for example. I appreciate that, Jackie Jen. So you have 18 dependencies. Nice. There we go. I mean, I have quite a bit. I have less. I have more than Revere does, for sure. It's possible that someone thinks they are too old to do maths because they believe that. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Maths on it right there. No, but you know, if I can learn maths, anyone can learn maths. I won't go into it, but I didn't do very well in school at all. And I taught myself everything I've known, really. That isn't like a brag. Like I could do better. Like I could have done better in school, but I didn't. But you know, I recovered, which includes learning maths. So I'm just going to put a breakpoint here. Yeah, appreciate looking at live streams. No, it did not work because is it not picked it up? I'm confused. You should be here. Oh, I'm an idiot. I've just realised what I've done wrong. Absolute monkey brain. Yeah, I didn't even add it to the project, so of course it wasn't going to work. I don't use. For some reason, thought I used file blob recursion for some reason. So I also depend on mesh optimizer. I don't really use it though. I don't know. That's only for meshlets, and I don't really use meshlets in this project, so it's kind of redundant. A redundant dependency. Okay, so put these in. That's why I couldn't find it. And we're going to regenerate the project now with the actual files in, and build external. Yep, okay, it builds. There they are. Fantastic. And scrolling down to main. Hopefully we get rid of the linker errors. We shall see. Linker error. No, we still got linker error. Unresolved thingy. What else do I need to do then? Let's look it up. Yo, what's good? How you doing, dude? Hi, Alex. Glad you can catch the stream. Hopefully you're having a great day. Hopefully your coding is going well. You're absolutely crushing it. So header, mini audio. What else do I need to do, dude? Okay. If you don't add this, like any other library, note that the application binary interface compatibility is not guaranteed between versions with bulk releases and fixes. So take care in compiling as a shared library. Huh? So, like any other header library, add. Okay, maybe I need to put this in my actual source tree. Like here. I mean, I'll just throw it there, I guess. I don't really know where this needs to be. Or if Visual Studios is ignoring it. Oh, I've just realised what I've done wrong. Okay, this is really obvious. We're not including it in its own CBP file. Sorry, C file. So, wrong thing. So, there we go. Okay, let's try that again. So yeah, those files were completely. I keep thinking I've solved the problem, but no, continues to not solve. Did I save? Yes. Yeah, I'm good. We've got the game to be a little bit functional. We've got the player movement working. We're working on audio at the moment. What do you think the 3 pillars of the game engine? Handling input, updating the world, rendering everything. Those are the 3 things that happens in that order. I don't think you added mini audio C to your CMake. I think I did, but no, I'll check. And they progressively take longer. No, it should be there. I mean, it's in external, and I'm not entirely sure if you know. But when it comes to like what to learn, it's that's a different topic. Like, what do you need to learn to be able to make a game engine? What are 3 pillars? But every game engine has those 3 things, no matter how small, no matter how big. They all do those 3 things in that order, no matter what. That is the correct order to do things in. Yeah, I'm thinking that. I'm going to try and maybe just stick it here and link it directly. Sorry, here. And just kind of like put it in my... Yes. So obviously this is not going to be found anymore. This needs to be vendor. And let's just throw it in my actual source tree. So it's not going to be an external anymore. It's going to be... It's gonna be me. Don't know why I said that. I'm going insane. C. So this is the main application. So it's definitely here. Mini audio.c. Right, so we should see a mini C at the bottom of the file. There it is. So when we build this, new, and mini C can find this, right? Right. Tricky. Let me think. Let's look at the documentation one more time. Maybe you don't need the C, but C++. No, it did say I need C. But yeah, good suggestion. Thanks for these suggestions do help me think, by the way. So it is welcome. It does say it needs, so to use mini audio, just use the include name. Like any other C library, add the C version to your source tree. I've done that, doesn't work, and this is typically because here's the thing though, I'm worried if let's look at an example, right? Let's look at an actual example, right? So the examples are here, and we want the simplest example. Engine SDL. Simple looping. I'm not entirely sure which is the simplest. I'll go with simple looping. So, we include the C file. That's what we're doing wrong. Okay, that's easy fixed. If you just look at the source code. Sorry to anyone who has been like, dirt. That's all you need to do, dude. So we include the C file. This is not in vendor anymore. And we'll put that there just to see if that works. Come on. No, still, okay. What else are we missing? I'm confused now. I don't know. Hey, bro. How long did it take you to draw a triangle in Vulkan? Hi, look, light. How long did it take? Oh, it took me a couple of days. Maybe a week at most. I can't exactly remember anymore. But I was like taking notes and stuff like that at the same time, you know? I wasn't just straight up struggling to get a triangle to learn. I was like trying to slowly go through the tutorial. And I had done OpenGL before, so it wasn't like I was completely fresh to the idea of things taking a long time to do. But if you are asking, because you're trying to think about yourself, yeah, it takes about 500 lines of code. Yeah, that's about right. It used to take longer, believe it or not. It used to take 900 lines of code, or 700. 709, no, 700 lines. Yeah, definitely 700. Because you want to try it out yourself. Yeah, go ahead. I think once you've got one triangle on the screen, it takes basically no more. I don't know how much more lines of code, like 50 more lines of code to have a model on the screen. So it's not. Drawing a triangle is a big step for getting more complicated scenes rendering. It's not like you just have a triangle and then nothing else. Like it doesn't take much longer to render a model. So we have C, and that's still not working. Dude, if it took you 1 week to draw a triangle in Vulkan, I'd be scared. It is tricky. Vulkan is not easy. I will not say it's easy. But it is not impossible either, so if you do want to learn it, there are tutorials out there that can teach you. Yep, see, there you go. Mado is still learning how to do this 3 weeks later. Okay, I will share my Discord link with everyone. Yes, you can find it on my YouTube channel, but I'm going to share it here. The only thing's holding me back is motivation. Yeah, I can see that. You've got a bigger project, though, to convert, so it's going to be tougher. But I believe you could do it. If I could do it, anyone could do it. Here's my Discord server for anyone who's new. Thank you for anyone who's liked and subscribed and talked on stream. Honestly, I appreciate all of you. You've really helped me out today, so honestly, thank you so much. I love this community so much. But I'm going to have to call it here. I will see you all soon. And yeah. So yeah, goodbye and have a good day, everyone. Advertisement, yeah. I just want people to be part of the community. That's why I say that. You know. So yeah, I will see you all soon. Yeah. Bye, guys. Bye, bye, bye.